Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. How's everybody doing on this fine morning of glorious? It's pretty, it's actually, we've had some wind here in Toronto, but then it's sort of cleared out. And so I want to do some sharing before we go forward. And so if you want to share too, let me know you're here and let me know that you are with us on the journey of the courageous conversation. So let's talk a little bit about what the topic is today. And it's a hard topic because a lot of people, hi Maureen, hi as everyone's coming on, and we are going to talk about the judgment we have of others, which, it's the human condition. We judge others. I don't care how enlightened you are, there is something in you that can sometimes sit in judgment of other people. But let me just do a tiny bit of sharing. And then as we come on, you can say hi and share. You can also like my video, rather like my page, Courageous Conversations, or also, hi, yes, Maureen, thank you for coming on live. I'm thrilled that you're here. The thing about live is that it's a good thing. It's a nice thing because you get to participate, and that's what's kind of cool. So I'm doing a tiny bit. Hi, Efnan. Nice to see everybody coming on. I'm doing a tiny bit of sharing here. And once you come on, please do share because that's always nice to have other people able to, participate, shall we say. And also, yes, thank you, Efnan. I'm glad I am sharing because everything that I want to do here is make sure that people are getting some good psychological concepts as they go about their life. And that is really the purpose of all of this. So just doing a little bit of sharing on a couple of groups and on my pages. And I'm hoping you share too before we dig into the topic of judging others and what that's all about and what we can do to mitigate that. Hi, Janet. Nice to see you. All right, almost done my sharing. Share. And also, if you ever feel moved, I have a closed group. We've just closed the group. It's called Courageous Conversations, and people can share some deeper meaty stuff. And that might be something for you to consider and join us because it's a support area. Rather, it's a support sort of group where we're all sort of sharing with each other, but also being really kind of considerate of the other as well, which is lovely. Hi, Yutushka. Nice to see you. Always nice to see people on here. All righty. Let's begin. So, downtown Toronto, I don't know if you can hear that lots of sirens. That happens, but that's okay. So, let's just talk a little bit about when we judge others. It's just the human experience, I believe, when we come from the part of us that's the ego personality, we're seeing things in a duality-oriented way. This is good, that's bad, I like this, I don't like this, look at her, look at him, oh, look at that, I don't like that, I just now got a reaction to what was said to me. I mean, it's something that I personally am working on a regular basis, even though I teach this stuff. If you don't work on it on a regular basis, I mean work on it. Not just become aware of it intellectually. That's not working on it. By the way, that's not working on it, okay? Becoming aware of something up in here is not becoming aware of it in here. And so even though I teach this stuff and I understand this on an intellectual level, any one of us that is I know we're intelligent people, so we get it on an intellectual. It's not good to judge and blah, blah, blah. No, you got to get it at the visceral level, at the kinesthetic level, at the felt sense level, at the deep, past your personality, past your ego, and into your soul, right? Because your soul doesn't judge. Your ego, the fear part of you, does judge. Okay, that's something to understand. Which voice are you coming from? The soul's voice or the ego personality voice? And here's a hint. The soul's voice is simply watching and witnessing and interested and curious. Okay? Isn't that interesting? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. But the ego personality's voice is saying, this is bad, this is good. I'm judging this, I don't like that, this is not working for me, I'm reactive. Then there's a paranoia, then there's going into anxiety, then there's worry, fear. It's future worrying, it's past obsessing. It's not just, curious witnessing. That's the soul's voice. And to train yourself to go into the soul's voice is really part of this journey. Just curious witnessing, interest. Like I love when I'm asking you to do and others to do is this concept of, oh, that's interesting. Say that. It's like, oh, this person just told me to F off. Interesting. And literally go, okay, that's interesting. So, as opposed to, oh my God, this is horrific. This person is, it's curious. Or this person is talking in this way. Or this person is doing this thing. A lot of our judgments of other people, when we're so outward oriented, we're not turning around and troubleshooting the self, as I say, and go, what part of me is reactive to that? And usually, dollars to donuts, it's fear. Fear of reputation problems, that you're going to have a reputation issue. Fear you're going to be hurt. Fear of pain, fear of pain, fear of pain. That's a big one, fear of pain. And when I look at the part of me that is judging or rejecting what's over here, I am no longer able to transform it because it's largely at the unconscious level. It's largely at the level of, hi Hanya, nice to see you, at the level of simply outward. And really valuable work is to turn it around and go, okay, what am I aware of? Well, I'm aware that I don't like something, so that's good, write it down. I'm aware that I judge it, as in I have an aversion to it, write that down. And then sit with it and really look at the part of you, and it's not all of you, by the way, good news, it's not all of you, a piece of you that is rejecting or judging or abhorring the other person, okay? And then that part of you will be there to teach you an awareness of yourself. Very often, if I'm having an aversion toward something someone else is doing, and this is something that I work with, and I encourage you to do the same, I will look and go, oh, that's the part of me that's into pleasing or into wanting other people to be like I want them to be. What's that about? And then go, what's that about? That's the question. The best question you can ask is, what's that about? Where did that come from? What's that experience in me? What in me is just like that? And that's the piece that people get like a bit effed up about. They go, well, I'm not like that. I'm not like that politician that I hate. And it's not about the person out there. It's about what's happening within you. So it might be, take it to that. It's like, I don't like that thing. So what's going on in me? Well, I'm afraid. And then it might be, well, I'm afraid of, not having the energy to activate my political whatever. I'm afraid that I will be judged if I speak. I'm afraid what I judge, I'm usually exactly the same afraid of. And it's interesting because people think, well, it's right to be judgmental of certain things. I'm like, well, hang on. You might be morally correct, I don't know. But I feel that if you just stop the journey there, you don't look beyond what is needed, and so that for you to grow, because we want you to grow. We want us all to grow. That is really what we're here to do, is to evolve. And when we see, for example, someone saying, I don't like that person, they're too direct. Okay, look inside. What's happening in me? Well, there might be some story that you're telling yourself, because it's all a story, right? It's all a story you tell yourself. There may be a story you tell yourself that too much directness means that you're going to get uncomfortable. You don't feel like you have a right to stand up for yourself. Or maybe there's a part of you that's pretty direct that has been rejected and you don't like that part of you as well. So there's a few angles to look at. Hi, Marjorie. Nice to see you all the way from Brazil. And Hanya is also from, from another part. Also, I think you're down in Florida right now. So I hope you're enjoying the warm weather. So it's like when you go, oh, I don't like that person who's too vocal. Oh, what don't I like in myself that's vocal? Or what in me that's vocal got rejected? And so that must be wrong. I've been telling a story to myself that must be wrong, right? So it's like always go turn it around and look at yourself. I don't like that person that's, I don't know, people go, I don't like that person that's fat. I don't like that person that's of a different color. I don't like that person that's treating that other person like that. How dare that person treat that person in that way? Okay, all right, moral, you got the moral high ground, got it, good. Now what? Let's look and go, what's happening within you? There's all this important information within you when you're judging another, okay? And the other thing is that I believe when we look at things from the soul's perspective versus the ego personality, remember, ego personality will look at things very fearfully, what's happening here? Fear will be a real leader in the ego personality's perspective on things. But when the soul looks at things, it's much more equanimity oriented. It's less judgmental oriented. It's much more curious observer, what's happening. And when the curious observer sees things, it's usually going to be seeing things from the perspective of, especially when you're judging other people, the way they're dealing with one another. You're like, oh, I'm really judging that. Well, there might be some growth in those two people's souls as you're observing it. And who are we to say that people can't grow in the way they need to grow? In other words, I'm not saying that that's the perfect answer. I'm just saying that don't look so outside of yourself for all of the answers. Turn it around and go, what I judge in someone else, do I have that same characteristic in me? And B, is there that part of me that is, you need to become aware of? Maybe that's a part of you that's codependent. And codependency is your self-esteem rises and falls based on another person's tone, action, or behavior. So is your self-esteem not stable? And so if it isn't stable, that's what that experience is giving you to work on. Is saying, lesson, you got to work on your self-esteem to be more stable. It's almost like every single thing we observe in others, every single thing we observe in others has information for us about us, which is a real tough one for a lot of people because it's just a lot easier to go, you. In any kind of a marital or even couples or even business partnership work that I do with people, they're like, well, they're this way and she's this way and he's this way, they, you. And I'm like, well, what do I do with that, Victoria? What do I do with you? Hi, Janice. Hi, Chi Del Mar. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. You. So what do I do? Here's the clue, everybody. Ask yourself what you can do about the sentence saying, I feel this. I feel afraid. I feel frustrated. I feel confused. I feel unhappy. Own it. Yutushka says, the curious observer doesn't judge self either. Good. We can play with our own ego also and not take ourselves so seriously. Yeah, absolutely. We're here to have some fun, people, on the planet. It's hard when you go to work, get up, go to sleep, get up, go to work, come back, have your dinner, rinse, repeat, it's hard because you gotta make sure that you're really enjoying or playing with life a little bit. And by the way, the soul gets that. When we look at life from the soul's perspective versus the ego personality perspective, and I guess that's what makes me a holistic psychotherapist, because I do refer to these types of things, that we're not just the ego personality in action, that we have, I believe, a soul that is that is always in action, in our being. But it is very tough to hear the soul when the fearful ego personality, taking yourself too seriously, judging yourself, and the messaging you got from family of origin is supporting that, judgment of self and judgment of others. this kind of you're either with me or against me kind of family culture. You're either like me or you're some weird thing that I don't like. And that's all the ego personality speaking and ruling and, doing its number on you. And then there's the other piece, which is whenever that's happening, there is a lost opportunity to troubleshoot the self, to work on the self, to self-reflect. And the self-reflection, I gotta say, is where all the richness lives. When you do the self-reflection, you are no longer at the mercy of other people's opinions, other people's thoughts about you. You're going, what's happening over here? And when you shine a light on the monster, any monster, your judgment of another, your judgment of yourself, your awareness of what you're feeling, here's the trick. The more you shine a light, the more it will lessen. Anything will be less inflamed when you deeply, in a curious, non-judgmental way, observe it and troubleshoot it by asking the key question, what's this all about? What's this all about? Not what's wrong with you. You're not judging yourself. It's what's this all about? What's this reaction in me all about? What's this judgment of the other person all about? I think this is my experience versus you are. And that is the key to really evolving past the ego personality. To start to look at also every morsel of learning you can gather from every judgment you have, from every experience you have. That's how you evolve. That's how you go beyond. And Yatushka says this is the perfect post for the new moon in Scorpio. Do tell Yatushka, what is new moon in Scorpio all about? So the viewers can learn. Yatushka is awesome, by the way. Connect with each other as you connect with me. Yatushka, fantasticness. So there is this amazing experience that starts to transform where you're no longer at the mercy of your reactions. That's the thing that I like to have people become trained in, is that it's so easy to be at the mercy of your reactions. But the truth of the matter is that you will never have peace of mind if you are constantly destabilized by how you react to others. Okay? So often when we are destabilized by others, it's because we are not disciplining our own self, our own being, to self-observe as we react to someone else. And self-compassion and self-acceptance get lost in the mix. Maureen says, I can see how one can learn about themselves from analyzing why they judge another. But would this perspective or self-examination also be applicable to the more extreme cases where another could judge someone, for instance, a victim of a long-term childhood abuse judging their abuser? Well, I think it applies in all cases. Because as I said, you can reject your longtime abuser. And you can say, that is no longer for me. But to consistently, you can judge, you can reject, you can dislike, you cannot want. You can be absolutely separating yourself from your longtime abuser. The problem is to sit in constant judgment of that other person is to lose your own life and to give your life to them, basically. So that is what I guess I'm saying, Maureen, is that even in cases of, when you are a lot of people experience, I'm 53, and I know, I look fabulous, I'm kidding. And I, work on my family of origin stuff constantly in my therapist's office. And I encourage my clients also to work on their family of origin stuff. But if all of my energy is about rejecting them and not learning about me as I'm working on what occurred in my childhood, then what happens is that I'm no longer living me. I am constantly giving up my power to them. And what I want to learn, for example, or what some of the things to learn when you're doing that, Maureen, when you're no longer giving it to them and you're looking at yourself, is you're going, what in me still is lost in my experience as a child? So maybe you ask yourself, maybe I don't like my present day life, so I need to distract myself by constantly being in pain about my past. Do you understand what I'm saying, Maureen? That's what I guess I'm trying to impart, that everything that we are judging, even the stuff that we have the moral high ground on, like, I reject my abuser kind of energy, is a lot of the energy of rejecting. Rejecting the other, you lose the information that experience can give to you about you. So when you're busy rejecting the other, what are you not focusing in on yourself? And working on your solidness, working on no longer being involved with the energetic of rejection. You're simply kind of going, yeah, that's not for me. That no longer fits my vibration. Again, another holistic concept is that we're all vibration, and the more we focus on a certain fear of, rejection of, abhorrence of, we are in the vibration of non-self-empowerment. We're in the reaction to another. So that's a huge transformation when people who've been abused start to go, that's no longer fitting with my vibration. The vibration of the abused child lives in the past, not in the present. The adult does not have to carry with it the massive baggage of the abused child vibratory essence. By new affirmations, new experiences. Good, Maureen, you got that. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, excellent. So it's like changing it's like, itchy nose. You know that the angels are in the house when I'm itching my nose. And what happens is that the past, so for someone, for example, who experienced abuse as a child, as opposed to going, oh my gosh, I'm not in any way minimizing that. It's like, they feel broken by that. They feel like, I'm a broken person. That's carrying it with you. Instead, you're like, no, I am this empowered person that happened to me in the past. What am I learning? I'm learning to have compassion for people that get abused, and I'm learning that I can take my power and I can start an organization to stop childhood abuse, as the beautiful Hanya Kizimchuk has done. She has a great organization, Hanya does, in which she has created an amazing hub, digital hub to stop childhood abuse. And look up Hanya Kizimchuk. She also has had some really, really cool events to raise money for that. And that's because she's an empowered person, having gone through stuff as a child and not living the broken story. She is transforming that broken story and empowering herself. And then because of her compassion that she knows and has for other children that have been abused, she's transformed that into power and then gone and become unbelievably useful. And that's been her legacy. Maybe had things not happened to her as a child, she wouldn't have that fine-tuned experience of being so passionate to help abused children. So that's interesting. Maureen Lynch says, yes, I've noticed that the more I am angry about my abusers, the more I am enmeshed in my false, old, and broken self that I utilize to survive the environment. Yes, that worked to survive your environment. But today, you are an empowered, you are a magnificent, you are a soul that can really identify with the notion that pain happens as a child. But then here we go. What are we going to do with that? We're not going to just live in the broken story. We're going to do something different. I know that everything I experienced in my family of origin, bless them, because it is because of them I am here today doing this here for you. Look at that, okay? And that's how you transform it. And you look and say, what can I do? I don't have to just be this victim story. Stop. That's the ego personality in action. Let's get the soul. And the soul is saying, grow, learn, evolve, or repeat. Grow, learn, evolve, or repeat. The same old BS story. And that's when the multi-generational dysfunction happens, where people don't learn, evolve. They just repeat that onto, I was abused, so I will abuse. Like, whoa, really? You were abused, so now you're going to abuse someone else? Well, don't you know that what you had to learn was compassion, and you had to learn that you didn't want to have that occur anymore? Isn't that what you were supposed to learn, but you didn't? Okay? So, and my intolerance is of others. By the way, I'm just looking at that. I'm intolerant of others that do that. Well, I have to look at the intolerance in me. For me. So that is where you constantly turn it around, look at self. I hope this helps. I hope that this is part of the journey of helping everyone to move past this. I want you to keep having courageous conversations, troubleshoot the self. Have courageous conversations with others. If you can and it moves you, like my page called Courageous Conversations. And if you can and it moves you, join my group Courageous Conversations, which is now a closed group. And I'd like people to join and share and be supported and tell other people about it, because I feel that we do a service to the planet when we stop the multi-generational dysfunction and abuse, and we start to really, really troubleshoot it in safe ways. And the Courageous Conversations group is one of those ways. Okay? All right. Beautiful. Mwah. Have a spectacular, spectacular day, and love yourself and love others, and turn it around and look at self when you're judging someone else. All right? Mwah. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now. See you tomorrow for another Courageous Conversation. All right. Which is all about being different. All right. Bye for now.